setting up. And a one, and a two, and a 1, 2, 3, 4. And here we go now. Should be both of us.
Uh-huh.
It is.
Welcome back.
Okay. So, welcome back, everyone. We are live on the Cosmic Oracle Show. This is your host, Barbara Jean Lindsey. We have an amazing guest. I'm so excited for you to meet him. I want to tell you a little bit about him first. His name is Derrell Stokes. He's a spiritual intuitive medium and channel who awakened to his gifts following a near-death experience at age 7. We'll be getting into that today. He has a powerful connection to the angelic and elemental realms. He experienced his spiritual awakening in the red rocks and vortexes of Sedona, Arizona, where he lives today. He is a spiritual photographer that captures orbs of light and light beings, like an extraordinary photographer. Okay, he really does capture it. That's why he's here today to talk about that. And light beings from Mount Shasta to a Buddhist monastery in China. He is also an ambassador of goodwill for the Star Nations and Sasquatch. So he offers astrology, angel, oracle, tarot, past life, and intuitive readings. And without further ado, welcome to the Cosmic Oracle Show, my friend.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Daryl, what a ride. That was a wild ride.
That has been the energy of not only today, but the past few days, that we're all these technical glitches and whatnot that are going on. So how we're able to adjust and handle that, and it's all a real, it's a test, it's like we're having our final exam, and it's, literally the winter final exam coming up here. So we're just doing the best that we can do, with how it's all flowing, and to be able to just see the blessings in it, and know that for every up, up there's a down, and there's always a reason for the ups and downs, major healing taking place. So we just allow ourselves to go with the flow of it, and see the humor in it. If you can see the humor in the most chaotic and craziest times, you're a blessed individual, So we're doing our best to be that and share that with others.
Yeah, we talked about that before the show about these times, like winter solstices coming up.
Yeah,
That's a big deal. And so the energies are like, wah.
yeah. And
I don't know
this,
how to put that in words. Maybe you do.
well, we got all these astrological events happening, that's really taking place, and 6 eclipses is a lot. That's profound change all the way around, and this is the first time in a long time we've had 6 of them. And you want to know how that affects you. Well, you just look at 2020. And we also have Saturn just moved back into Aquarius. We're now entering the age of Aquarius, so literally it's information, the future, technology, people, groups of people, networking, all that's literally, taking place now. And it's how are we able to get along with each other, to make the world a better place than and to, at least compromise, as best we can with that. And we're going through the test because Saturn is all about lessons, the great teacher. So have we learned our lessons? And the best way to know how to see if you've learned your lessons is literally to be walking through it to see if are you able to pass the lessons. And it's like school, some of us really love it, we're into it, we're and then there are some of us just like it's not our cup of tea. We'd rather be doing something else. And so how are we able to share that and express that, to each other, to where we can, um, where it works, where it works for everybody, because it's meant to be a win-win, not a win for some and a loss for others. It's meant for everybody's in your life to help you to grow, in whatever manner or way. And some people are the support system, and other people's are the, the cast of characters that really trigger you. But that's what allows for the opportunity for the growth and the healing. And
Mhm.
right now, boy, we're going through one heck of a healing right now.
We are. We truly are. I think we just got a big lesson.
Technical difficulties, what can you say? And it's I'm walking through it myself. I used to be a techie, and I just kind of backed away from that, and now it looks like we're being called to once again, to embrace technology, to where we're able to communicate with each other. And it's, I'm old fashioned, I like, in person. And boy, when something like the Rona shows up that really changes the dynamics of that, you're called to adapt, and blessing in disguise, if you will, because here it is, we're still able to share the message and get it out to others, on a larger scale, than just in person. And literally that's what we're progressing into, being able to share the technology and the information and the knowledge with each other, so that we can heal, we can grow. And for those who get it first, they're called to share that and teach it to others. And boy, we're we're in school right now, and the school of life is there are some subjects that you love, some classes that you love, and there are some that you just, that's not my favorite topic or subject. And you still you
Learn
get
that lesson, right?
you get homework in it, and then it's like, I don't want to do the homework. But if you don't do the homework, how are you going to pass? So we're being called to do the homework, and we're doing the homework in the holiday season. We're in holiday season, which, we're usually when you're around loved ones and around family, and this is a different dynamic for that. So there are those that have been around each other for so long, they're just tired of each other. And then the holidays comes in, it just really amplifies all that. But that's where, it's like a pop quiz. You have the pop quiz because you know that you're going to have the test, literally the next day or so. And the pop quiz shows you what it is that you know and what you don't know, so you're able to study up on that, so that way you can at least pass the test. And we're walking, we're in midterms to final exams.
The end of the year, right? The end of
Right.
we're gonna go out at the end of this year, right?
And that is literally it. We are walking into 2021, with a lot more optimism and hope than before, because my goodness, you really don't know what you have until it's gone, and this year has really taught us that. Be grateful for what you have, be grateful for the blessings and the trial and tribulations, because that's what's assisting in the growth, and the healing. And boy, to be able to help others and uplift others, and to have them be able to do that for you. We're all learning how to be able to ask for help and to receive help, and to know that your pride can only get you so far, and it's others, and to have them be able to do that for you. We're all learning how to be able to ask, ask I'm hearing feedback. That's weird. And to know that your pride can only get you so far, and it's I'm really having, I'm hearing feedback. To have them be able to do that for you. We're all learning how to be able to ask, ask I'm hearing feedback. That's weird. And they know that your pride can only get you so far. I don't even know. That's wild. I'm hearing people have to be able to do that for you. We're all learning how to be able to ask, ask I'm hearing feedback.
I don't know.
And they know that your pride can only get you so far. I don't even know. That's wild. People have to be able to do that for you. We're all learning how to be able to ask. I'm speechless.
Here we go again. It was so grounded and so good. I don't know. I have no idea, Derrell. Sorry. It was going so well, wasn't it?
I just go with the flow of it. What else can we do? I mean, life throws trials and tribulations, they blindside you, and it's like, well, if you see it coming, you can step out of the way. If you don't see it coming, it's, I gotcha.
Oh my God! Here we go again.
I mean, life life throws trials and tribulations, they blindside you, and it's like, well, you know, if you see it coming, you can step out of the way. If you don't see it coming, it's I got you.
Here we go. It's double backfeed. I have no idea. Okay. Here's my request for 2021.
Yes.
Cosmic Oracle Show really needs a producer, okay, who knows what he or she is doing so they can help, because my job is a lot of times going out there. So we need someone, and I'm really grounded. I could be really grounded, but I really do need a producer. This isn't working. I am so sorry, Derrell. I just trying to think of the best remedy for this. I'm not sure. So
Laughter. Laughter is the best remedy for this.
it is. I can laugh. That's you know, I'm a perfectionist too. I like things done right.
Yeah,
You know?
and so literally
bringing their precious time, and I want to make sure that they get what they're coming for here.
absolutely it's a curveball, you know, and
I'm not sure what we want to do here. We can't do it this way.
Oh, you know, and
okay, let's try it this way. Hang in there, everybody. Zoom. It was working beautifully.
it's like the all the technology is being hacked.
I have no idea. It was working.
All the technology is being hacked.
No idea.
I said I would try to behave. But this
Well, hey, Garrett Duncan said there was chaos again, so it's all his fault. We're gonna blame it on Garrett, okay, Derrell? It's all Garrett Duncan's fault.
This is very much a Heyoka energy, so the trickster is in the house.
We're gonna blame it on Garrett, okay, Derrell? It's all Garrett Duncan's fault.
This is very much Heyoka energy.
It is. Okay. Is that any better at all? Oh my God.
Well, I know that people have always said they'd love to have a laugh track of me, so you know.
Okay. Is that any better at all?
I'd say I'm sorry, but there's no reason to be.
Okay, I'm just gonna do this, leave site. Yeah, we're just gonna leave Facebook.
Okay.
We just have to. Okay, that should do it. Okay, I think we got it. I think we got it. Oh my God.
So this has been the energy of the day, you know. So
yeah.
you just adapt with it and go with it. I've been attempting to get my website up and running since Monday, and my goodness, it has been it's been trying. And so this all just fits right into it, because literally from Monday to Friday, boy, it's been a journey.
It only took us a half hour to get here. Okay.
Yeah.
So we have time to make up for it.
Okay. Yeah.
Start with your near-death experience, because that was the catalyst for your spiritual awakening, shall we say? Or
yeah.
you share that with us? I think we're okay for a while.
Yeah. So you know to bring the energy back down a bit. So my best friend, you know, his name was Burt Brummett, and he was 8, I was 7, and we were racing home from school, and to see who could get home, you know, who could be there the fastest. And as we're racing down, we get to the crosswalk, and the cross guard is there. So we run up just a little bit past her, so that we could literally get a jump. So we were not directly right there at the crosswalk. As she's walking out with the stop sign, you know, for the traffic to stop, this blue Buick comes rolling through, this 1978 blue Buick. And the gentleman had blue jean overalls on, and he had an old, looked like a farmer's hat, and he had black rim glasses. I'll never forget it. And he went rolling right past her, and literally, as she was walking out, we took off running, and we see him rolling right past her, and he hit Bert. He hit Bert right in front of me. Um, I felt like he should have hit us both, because we were literally both, running at the same time. And it felt just like something grabbed and pulled me back. I can't even describe it, but it hit him. The car hit him. And he went up in the air. And the last words out of his mouth was mama,
Oh,
and then he hit the ground. And his mom immediately, Shirley came running out of the house, and she went to to pick him up, and I remember she was laying in the street, and I ran home, um, but my mother wasn't home, so then I ran to my grandmother's house, who was always home. She was always home, and she wasn't home for the first time, and I cannot ever tell you when my grandmother was not home for us to get home from school. And so I ended up going to the community center and sitting in the timeout room, which had a giant spider in it, which terrified us, so that we wouldn't be bad. But I didn't know what else to do. I literally, everywhere I went, my mom's house, my grandmother's house, the people that was my shelter were not there. So I just literally went and was in the little timeout room. Later on, I developed a phobia or fear of spiders. I don't know if that was the primary cause of it or not, but that was, and I didn't really have anyone to talk to, and of course my cousins and family were there. They witnessed the same thing that I witnessed, but it was, for me, it was a firsthand moment. And for them it was too, but it was literally, my best friend who I was just talking to moments, before was gone. And there was no therapy or anything like that. I didn't really have anyone to talk to. And for the longest time, I know for several months, I would write Derrell and Bert on my homework to turn in, and the teacher told me to stop doing that. So I didn't really have any way to process that loss. I wouldn't stay with my grandmother for a while because that's one thing they get figured to do is send me to my grandmother's and my dad's mom, and she kept me and watched over me for a bit. And she was the foundation, for assisting with my gifts. From that, I remember she would always feed me sliced oranges, sliced oranges, and she would watch Kenneth Copeland. She loved Kenneth Copeland, um, but she was. I can say to this day, from all that trauma that triggered, my grandmother never laid a hand on me. She never whipped me ever. My grandmother never ever put her hands on me, and she was my sanctuary. She was my sanctuary during that time frame. And when my gifts started triggering, then because I started sleepwalking after that. Um, but I started seeing things. I started knowing things that would happen before having no understanding of that. And from a near-death experiences, it unlocks, whatever is blocked. Um, for most people that have that near-death experience, it opens something. Your connection to the spirit world is far greater than ever before. And for all the things that people say that's not real, that doesn't exist, if you've had a near-death experience, you can absolutely attest to different. Differently. And it's a matter of if you're open to it, um, and then you want to understand more about it. And literally, as I'm growing up, I didn't really, that was not something that I was able to research or understand, especially growing up. It was just, you had that experience, and then around your family, you start picking up things, seeing things, or feeling things that you can't explain. And for them, they may not explain it either, but they may not want to deal with it or talk about it. And then you got some that have had the experience and they're open to talk about it. You have some that have the experience and they don't want to talk about it. And then you have some that have never had the experience and they're either open to it or they're not. You're usually in one of those groups. And for those that have had that experience, they can attest to something totally different because they know that, it's there are a lot of things out there in the universe that people said isn't real or doesn't exist, and then it shows itself or reveals itself. And then what do? What are you left with? You're either trying to explain it or figure it out. And some people don't want to explain it and figure it out. They want to make it go away. And there are others that it has a profound experience on them. And that just happened to be the case with me, because literally from 5 years later at 12, I had the lucid dream of my funeral, and it's like, wow, there's a whole lot of people there and my physical body's actually crying. And I'm asking, well, when does this happen? And he goes, wow, there's a whole lot of people here. And then I get 38 flash, as an image in my head. And it's like 38. Okay, so I'm going to pass at 38. Oh, wow. So I'm 12. So it's not like I could really talk to a lot of people about having this vision, and ironically, I was diagnosed, manic depressive bipolar because I hear things, feel things, see things, and yet I do hear things, feel things, and see things. And it's what, for some that are experienced to it, when you become and you're opened up as a channel or a medium, and then you start, loved ones that have passed start showing up, and you're like, wow, there's the granddad or there's uncle or whatnot. There are people that you've never even seen before showing up, and it's like, hey, there's there's somebody here. And then there's people that either believe you or they don't believe you. And my word, when you're seeing it and people don't believe you, what can you do? And then there are those that they believe you, but they don't want to admit that they believe you because they don't want to be judged or labelized, because that's weird. You're the weird one, or the one who's always different, or the one who stands out, and yet you're the one who's called to share that experience. And there are more people like you than not like you. And next thing you know, you start the soul family starts to emerge. They start to show up, and you come to recognize that a lot of these individuals, not only have they had the same experience as you, some of them have had some a bit more interesting experiences than you. And for those that have the courage to be able to just levelly speak their truth, because not everybody's going to be comfortable with it. It's not meant to be comfortable to everybody. If it was comfortable to everybody, then everybody would be talking about it. So for those that have this experience, for some it's comfortable, for some it's not comfortable, and I have had both experiences with it. And for me was to be able to better understand it. When you're called to do something, um it's one thing when you don't know about it, but it's a whole different story when you become aware of it and you acknowledge that this is what you're supposed to be doing. And then it's, do you have the courage and the strength and the fortitude to do it? And my word, I just wanted to know, why was I born to the family I was born to, and in the place I was born from? Because it was like, they don't get me. I absolutely just, the black sheep, my word. And it's like the black sheep is the one that's actually trying to do right. How is that the black sheep? Saying what everybody else says is normal is like, that's not normal. What you're doing, that's not normal. But, your loved one's family, the most broken, crazy things is normal because that's what they're used to dealing with. And you're the one that says that doesn't make any sense. And then you're the one who's labeled the nut.
Right, exactly. It's a wild ride. It's
you
totally
know
wild.
so I'm like, that's fine, I'm the crazy one, the and yet one of the most relatable, because the people always says, why in the heck are you always laughing and smiling? I can just call it a blessing, because I've had so much dad burn trauma in my life that, look, most people want to check out, and I can say I was one of them. I attempted to check out, the more than once, and that was a failure. So the because they said you're not supposed to go yet.
Right.
you're still supposed to be here. So I'm still here.
And
And
choice. You have a choice, right?
hmm and it's I said, look, if I'm gonna be called to remain here, then please help me to understand why. What am I supposed to do with this? Whatever this is, and how am I supposed to use it? And where do I belong with it? Because clearly being here, it's when you have gifts or you start coming into them or understanding them, and others don't quite understand it, or they have the same gifts and they don't want to be, have that stuff come up,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, because my word, I started to realize I have a lot of people in my family that have had multiple near death experiences. It's like, whoa, there's quite a few of us, and it's like, me, myself personally, I've had at least 6 to 7 near death experiences in my lifetime. So I know that there's divine intervention because literally when I should have been a goner, um, I wasn't, and then I have loved ones that they have also had near death experiences and had, um, there was divine intervention that showed up where they, one was in a horrific car accident and he remembers someone pulling him over to the side. And when the people showed up to help him, they're like, how'd you get out of this? And he's like, one of you showed up and pulled me aside. Had another cousin that had a tragedy happen to him, and by the grace of God, he was shot multiple times, and it's crazy because I woke up and said something has happened to him. I absolutely knew that something had happened to him, and to get that phone call from his mom to confirm that something had happened to him was like that was crazy because I literally I saw it, I felt it, um, and then it happened. So that more times than not. So it's like it's the loved ones that you're connected with. These people may drive you crazy, but they're also instrumental to your healing and your growth and your awakening. And my loved ones, literally, we never had much, but we were able to appreciate what we did have. And it's never it was never about status or anything like that. It was just simply do what you're called to do, and do your best to be helpful to others, even when others tend to abuse you or misuse you or mistreat you. My family taught me to be able to still love, to love as best they could. I won't say unconditional because, when you've been hurt and traumatized, you tend to carry some scars with you, so, people love you the best that they can love you. And and that's what I just started to understand. You love in the way that you've been taught, and it's okay to to relearn, how to love, especially when you're able to have forgiveness, because forgiveness is the most it's crucial and critical to have, because literally usually a lot of people that hurt you and they're more likely hurting too, and more likely if they're angry, they're hurting. And of course, you tend misery loves company, so you tend to want to share that. And my goodness, family, who knows better how to share misery with you than family? Love and misery, and especially during the holidays, because that it always seems to trigger during the holidays with loved ones and family. There's either loved ones making passing away and making their transition going home. My goodness, either loved ones passing away on your birthday, on Thanksgiving or Halloween or Christmas or some these are days that are special days, the whole memories. And then when a loved one passes, it just kind of, you never forget it,
Right. It's
you
a lot.
know, and so for me, my dad, he passed, and was buried on Halloween. But he passed on the 27th, which was weird because he came to me on the 24th in a dream. And he showed me, he said, son, I'm tired. And I said, well, I'm able to communicate with you, in this way. So rest, it's okay to rest. And so he showed me 3, and I'm like, okay, I've got 3 weeks to get back, back there to see you. And he passed 3 days later. So it was not 3 weeks, it was 3 days. And I mean, that my dad came to me in a dream and shared with me that he was tired, uh, and as I knew that I would be able to communicate with him again. And he had said to me, And sure enough, when he passed, um, I was literally out here in Sedona, and I was walking outside, and I got this presence came over me because that morning I woke up and I felt so out of body, I couldn't
Wow.
explain it. It's like I just could not feel like I was not in my body, and I'm like something has happened, but I don't know what has happened. And as I'm walking outside, well, I'll go outside and get some air, and then my phone goes off, and I look on Facebook, and I see my father's obituary on Facebook. So I'm seeing my father's obituary on Facebook, like, no phone calls, no nothing. This is what I see. But mind you, my father had already come to me in a dream, 3 days before, 3 days before, and shared with me that he was tired. And he'd already showed me three. So I'm thinking 3 weeks, but it was 3 days later. So that day that he passed on October 27th, and I step outside and I get, the text, and I'm having that out of body experience that morning. Like, I can't seem to be in my body. I'm going to go out and get grounded. And then I see the Facebook, his obituary. So I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. So I call my mom, who calls my grandmother, and gets back to me like, yeah, your dad has passed. So
What a way to find out.
he'd already, hey, isn't that something? That's just how it was. And then it was, to be able to get to make it back to Kentucky for his funeral, and then of course he was buried on Halloween. My word, let me tell you, you will see the true nature of your loved ones and your family when someone gets sick, becomes ill, or they pass away. That's
Right.
when you're going to see the true nature of your loved ones. And
Shocking.
I was, I was already, I would say I was prepared for it because I was literally getting all this in the real time. And then to go there, and I was there, I ended up being back, spending time with my family for 3 months, close to 3 months. That was not the plan. The plan was to go for my dad's funeral and come back. But that was, I was the oldest,
You were doing your work.
so be doing my work, and to follow through on what my dad had asked me to do. And let me tell you, when you're asked to do and fulfill last wishes, and it's like, like they put this stuff on you, um, and you want to honor it, you want to do your best to honor it, which
Right.
was, these are my brothers and these are my sisters. And boy, just to, share, these are my brothers, these are my sisters, it created all kinds of, you know,
Learning.
maelstrom. you but I had family that was able to connect because they didn't even know, that they were related. So I honored his wishes, and it really made a lot of people upset and really angry. But it's like, look, he asked me to do it. I was blessed to be able to be before he passed. I got to be with him a month before he passed, because I was there holding space for, for for my sister, for her loss.
Right.
And that was in September, and I was able to see my dad during that time frame, and I was able to make him an energy ball, and he could feel the energy, and he was like, I can feel that. And I was able to gift him a piece of snowflake obsidian from Mount Shasta, from when I was there, and he could feel the energy of it. And and I asked to take a picture of him, and he's like, nope, he didn't want to take a picture because he was like, he felt he wasn't appropriate, to take the
Right.
picture.
Right.
And I didn't push it. um, but I have no pictures of us together in our later years. So what I come to learn, was make the most of the time that you have with your loved ones, um, even if you don't always get along, the because you never know, when it's going to happen, when you're not going to see them again. And boy, if you've left on bad terms, you're going to feel some sort of way.
Right.
And so to be able to, make peace, with everyone that you can, or at least do the best that you can to live, a life where you're not, I don't go out of my way to start anything with anybody, I'm just, boy, if you're expecting a letter from me, it's going to be a long day, because me and writing, I know it should be a natural for me, with all the stuff in, the third house, but that is not the case. Writing is it's a loving challenge for me, which, someday that book will get done if I actually, I tried the dragon speak, but, the diction, it just wasn't picking up. So I just know, be in the moment. Allow yourself, do your best in the moment. The past is there to teach you. And if you're able to remember the past, you won't repeat it. If you don't remember the past, you will repeat it. And know that it's the past offers the best lessons for your learning. Because if you if you made a mistake, you're smart enough not to make it again. And if you do, well, what are you? Are you just a glutton for punishment? Um, so I just allow myself. I learn in the real time as best I can. I am a flawed individual. I am nowhere near perfect. I do not have all the answers. I just can share from my own personal experiences,
Yeah, yeah.
that if it pertains to family and life, I can share my experiences in the form of advice with that. Um, and
And with the love part, when I first met you, I didn't know you, and I met you at Sasquatch, the Sasquatch retreat in Washington, and I saw you from a distance. I go, "Ooh, that guy! He has a big heart." And wait a minute, his smile is just as bigger than your heart. It just so it for those that are listening and can't see Derrell, his energetic field is just beautiful, and it radiates all this love and strength and genuine. And if you're not feeling it, you're not feeling it. If you are feeling it, everybody's going to know about it. And so when we get back from our break, thank you for talking and sharing your love with us this first hour, and getting through that crazy part, and which we went through the eye of the needle. Okay, and we are on the other side. And by having an NDE, and by having that experience, it does change you forever. You're able to
mhm,
go in between the worlds much easier, and then you learn how to walk in between in a beautiful way, right?
yeah,
Where you're at peace. You find at peace with that.
yeah,
We
yeah.
have 3 more minutes before the end of our first hour, and so if you'd like to end, you're just full of wisdom and love and energy, and thank you for coming on the show today.
It's an honor. Thank you for having me. And it's like when Spirit says this is what you're called to do, and you're wondering, well, how is that going to happen? I'm open to it, and it says, don't worry, it's already in the works.
Mhm.
Yeah, and you're like, all right, I'm open to it, and you literally this year, the what can I say? I am deeply blessed and honored, and incredibly humbled to be able to share my story with everyone, because for some it's like it sounds like fiction, and and
But
and yet it's all real. It's all happened to me,
and it's
and
uncharted territory, right? There is no on.
yeah,
You can't be on track, or read a book, or it's like you're just in it, and
yeah.
like doing the best you can do, and it's
And
a wild ride.
I'm navigating the seas of life, and my word, sometimes there's some rogue waves, and it's like I'm just doing the best that I can to hang on. And it's been a wild journey. But while just reflecting back, literally, as eternal souls having a human experience, it's like, wow, it feels familiar. It feels like I've been here before, and a lot of the people that I'm around or interacting with was my word. They feel familiar too. It's like, excuse me, do I know you? Have we met before? And that just seems to be that is very much the case. And being here in Sedona, it's like the life before Sedona and life after Sedona is like literally how my life has transformed. And to to just be I'm incredibly grateful because I'm a walking miracle,
Okay.
to be here. I mean, honestly, my blood pressure on average, um, 186 over 110,
Wow.
and it's up there, and it's been like that for 15 years. And I didn't realize that it triggered around the time of my first Saturn return. I didn't know anything about that. But
Right.
my word, blood pressure is healing, working through the anger, and it's like, so I'm like, well, my word, how much anger do I have? And it's like, because
Surprise. No.
to be, so jovial and still to be you processing that, and Scorpio is a walking contradiction in itself because it's ruled by little Pluto, which is ice and cold, and Mars, which is fiery and hot, so it's, that temperament and, the attempting to heal all those wounds, because literally a lot of people are operating at half capacity because a lot of people have broken hearts, and in order to be at full capacity, the heart needs to be mended,
Right.
so here we are walking through these processes to heal our and mend our broken hearts, to be at full capacity once again.
Exactly.
And
Exactly. Thanks for that. We'll be right back after this break. Don't go anywhere, anybody, because we are at love full throttle here today on the Cosmic Oracle Show with Derrell Stokes. We'll be back. We'll be talking about orbs and his amazing orb photography and spirit.
I got the giggles. Yeah. Here we go. Yeah. Yeah. Mhm. Rose water. Yeah. I get the tingles. That's here. Mm. Yeah, look at there. Okay, what do we have here? Yeah, so we have self love, we have new beginnings, we have pride, We have teaching and learning, and we have healing.
Join Dr. Oz every
So that's what we're doing.
PM Eastern and learn why the story behind the story was nominated for a Peabody Award in the second year of producing unparalleled broadcasting excellence. That is, if you really care about learning the truth.
I feel you, Karen, man. You better, you better.
Welcome back to the Cosmic Oracle Show. This is your host, Barbara Jean Lindsey, and thanks for hanging in with us today. And I want to thank you for being so generous and keeping us on the air all these years. This is our 6th year, believe it or not. And so just go ahead and go to freedomslips.com. That's freedomslips.com, and hit that donate button, get $5, $10, whatever you can, and keep the lights on, keep the computers going, and keep us all grounded around here because we really need it. So thank you in advance for your generosity. And I want to welcome back to the show Derrell Stokes. And it's we have had quite a blast the first hour. And thank you for being so real and honest with your work and your life and what you're doing. And we're going to switch a little bit to what we came here to do. But I think what just happened that first hour was beautiful, and people needed to hear that. There will be people transitioning and how to deal with that and how to work with that. We haven't been taught that. We've been taught to just walk around it or act like there's no elephant in the living room. And so you bringing that up is real important for people to work with the heart, because as a person trans ends into the other side, they drop their skin dressing and they move on to the other side. There's no time or space, because love is love forever and ever. So whether they're on the 3rd dimension, the 5th dimension, wherever they are, you can bring them back in and really have that and walk that in your heart.
Yeah, when my dad passed, he came to me again, and in a dream, and he said, "Write out my name." Huh? He said, "Write out my name, write out my full name, and circle the first initial of each. You know, my first name, my middle name, and my last name." I'm like, that's crazy. Okay, I'll do it. So I wrote out his name, Gregory. You know, I circled G. I wrote out his middle name, Paul, and I circled P. And I wrote out, Stokes, and I circled S. GPS. I will
Oh,
always guide you in the right direction. And he also let me know, whenever you hear Earth, Wind, and Fire playing, you know that I'm with you. And so literally, whenever I hear September or anything from Earth, Wind, and Fire, the, that's my confirmation that he's very much with me. So that was my own personal experience, that my dad came to me before he passed, and then he came back to me when after he passed, and he lovingly shared with me, the I would have never thought to write out his name and circle, the initials, to get GPS, that who does that, but that's what my dad guided me to do, and of course, his father was a minister, and he passed when my dad was 15. He passed a month before I was born, so I never got to meet my grandfather. um, so that was, and then literally a month after I was born, his house burned down. So my dad, he had some challenging times, and he was so, and they had me young. My mom and dad had me young, 15 and 17 respectively. So kids having a kid, so I was also, raised a lot by my mom's mom. And Granny's a Gemini, and she's the sweetest little thing you could ever imagine. But I tell you what, she got me together quite a few times, because I wasn't really a bad child, but my word, I was mischievous. I just wanted to,
oh,
to do things. I wasn't too bad, but my word, my grandma, she cracked the whip on me, so I was, yes ma'am and no ma'am. She taught me respect, and to be polite, and in manners, because little I was raised by her too. So very much old fashioned, and my family, Southern Baptist, so that, so,
Have many matching stuff, Derrell. Putting a mirror in front of me. Okay.
and I was even, I was Catholic for a while too,
Right.
that's a whole nother story. But I went through the initiation process, and apparently, when you make the bishop cry during confession, the bishop came out and everyone's like, oh my God, what's wrong with the bishop? Are you okay? And he came over and hugged me because he's like, it's confession. So he told him what happened with my life, at that point. And he was like, wow, you've been through quite a bit.
Right. And you're
So
still here.
I am still here,
Island.
and I was just, never would have thought, but that, my soul was meant to have that experience, and there is a clear distinction between religion and spirituality,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what I really, I love spirituality, because, unconditional love, boy, religion talks about it, but my word, some, when you're talking about, unconditional love, a lot of them just don't show it.
Right. You walk your talk.
You're up in the pulpit preaching fire and brimstone, and you're saying, don't do this, and then you're doing the same thing. I see you,
Right. Right.
and then of course, I'm 10 years old and I'm asking the pastor, things like, you know, if it was created in 7 days, then please help me understand the dinosaurs, because I just got questions, because they're supposed to have been around for millions of years. So, I mean, and they're like, you're not supposed to ask that. I'm just curious, because I don't understand, because they've been here for like, so I ask things that just spark stuff. And um, my life is just, it's a bit different. Even with Christmas, I love Christmas.
I do too.
Absolutely. My mom taught me a very valuable lesson about Christmas,
All
you
right.
know. Oh,
Let's
yes, she did.
uh,
So for anybody out there right now, I'm going to share this with you. This is my own personal experience. Please do not take this for your own experience at all about Santa Claus. Okay. Santa is very much real in my eyes. I absolutely love Santa. I just know that my mom, when I was 10 years old, I discovered, some things that I had asked for in the closet. And I'm like, wow, Santa's already delivered the presents. That's awesome. And well in advance of Christmas. Santa's awesome. So I lovingly share this with my aunt. I confide in her. Santa Claus delivered the presents early to my house, and my aunt, who I confide in, goes and lets my mom know that, that Santa has delivered these gifts early. So my mom decides to relocate the gifts.
oh
Uh,
man.
so come Christmas morning, that particular Christmas morning, we had a huge ice storm. So there was a power outage. So there was no electricity in the house at all. And it's snowing
Oh,
ice everywhere. And under the Christmas tree, where there was no gifts. There was no gifts under the Christmas tree. There was two bundles of switches,
ooh.
and wrapped in a big red bow that said "Merry Christmas from Santa." I'm 10. I'm 10. So I'd always heard, the tale that, you get switches or whatnot, switches and coal. I got switches for Christmas when I was 10 years old, because I discovered that Santa had delivered the presents early. And because I had shared that truthful statement with my aunt, who shared it with my mom, so my mom wanted to teach me a lesson that that Santa is real. And so as I'm processing this, and I wake my sister up to share with her that this is what we got for Christmas, she's like, "Yeah, okay, there's no gifts. I'm going back to sleep." And my sister went back to sleep. Because, well, she's like, what else are we gonna do? There's no power. Can't watch TV, cartoons, anything. And so, we had to get up and get ready. The grandmother still had power, so we were heading over our house. And as my mom says, y'all go outside and get in the car. So as I'm acting like I'm doing that, I'm the ninja that I am. I'm just sitting and listening to that when we're say gone for a long time, and when they come back, then everything will be there. And
Right. Right.
Santa's awesome. So my cousins were like, "You got switches, dude?" So literally, I was the first in my entire family, I think, I don't know, in the history to ever get switches for Christmas. And because I, I discovered the truth, So I told my mom, I love Christmas, but boy, I really love the Grinch, how the Grinch stole Christmas, because it resonates with me on such an epic level, because it happened to me. It absolutely happened to me. I got switches at the age of 10, and because I found out the truth, and I shared that, and I'm like, you punished me for telling the truth.
Right. Right. What's that?
So literally, I was just, I was sharing this with her just a few days ago. She busted out laughing, because my mom's she's such a giver, and she just wanted, the magic of Christmas, and I'm just like, you didn't raise no dummy, mama, so I know, and plus I'm curious too. What kid's not going to go exploring and sneaking in Christmas, looking in closets and stuff? So that was my experience, and I always share that with my nephews and everybody else, that she did have a picture, but the picture has long since disappeared. But that was
Did Julie give you presents though? Did you
oh,
eventually?
after we got back from my grandmother's house, everything was there, and it was like, wow, it's a miracle. Santa didn't forget us. He came back, and I had my Pac-Man game watch. Um, but boy, I had to sweat it out for a while, because like, he did never sent a left. He dropped the presents off early, came back and got them, and took. So that's my Christmas experience. That's my Christmas story.
And so you don't take it for granted now, right?
I take absolutely nothing for granted, for Christmas or any other holiday. I am incredibly grateful, by anyone that shows me any type of love or appreciation, because it takes, what our loved ones go through, for the holidays
Right.
to create magic for us. And some of us are very appreciative, and some of us take it for granted, and some of us like, is this it? Where's the rest? And for some of us, it's life changing,
Mm.
when someone does something for you. So it just, the holidays are just a great appreciation, knowing that, if a loved one has passed, honor them, celebrate their memory. And if, a loved one happens, to pass during that time frame, I know it's very normal to mourn their passing, because the physical
Sure.
presence and the holidays, it just hits like a hammer. But
Yeah.
also knowing that, just when you're able to remember their love and their laughter and that memory in the heart, it does wonders, and it's done wonders for me.
Right.
Being able to heal through the grief, because it's, the love of my loved ones that I'm still able to feel and remember. And those
And
presents, like, my Aunt Darlene, bless her heart, when she passed. But I'll never forget the time that, I said she wasn't fast enough to catch me, and she said, Don't make me come out this chair after you." And I said, "I'd like to see you try it." And she caught me off guard, and clogs. You don't think people run fast in clogs, but my Aunt Darlene could, and man, she was almost on me. And when I hit the corner, I ran into the air conditioning unit, so it laid me slick out.
oh, oh, oh,
And she
oh,
felt sorry for me, so she didn't whoop me, but
oh,
it hit me right in the corner. It parted my hair.
oh my gosh.
So I never take for granted how fast someone can move, but that was my Aunt Darlene, and that is the memory that I hold, of her, her, because she was from Rhode Island, so she had that Rhode Island accent. And it just, you talk funny, Aunt Darlene. Boy, don't make me come after you. Oh, I'd like to see you try it. Holy moly. I was like, wow. And so I got laid out by an air conditioning unit, because I didn't duck. I didn't duck.
and, and
So,
and so by telling their story, right? By telling the
yeah,
story, that's how you can
you know,
remember them and endear them and hold them in your heart.
yeah. Because it's when you're processing that healing, it's the love and joy that assists with it. Whenever there's pain or sadness, we all have it. It's all real. Everybody processes it differently, and some are able to, are called to, find a way to do it where they can be assistance and help others.
Mhm.
And I never really viewed myself as someone, that was called to do that. And then I look at my natal chart, and it is all that, the sharing messages about healing. And it's like, this is nuts, because Scorpios go through experience a lot of loss, a lot of trauma. And Scorpio, like a late degree one at that, 27 degrees. So, that, what comes with that, literally, I have, October is a challenging month for me,
Mhm.
because I was just really realizing how many of my loved ones have passed. And, one of my dear friends, Buddha, who I went to the Sasquatch conference with, passed. After we came back from the conference, we stopped in Mount Shasta. We went to the conference. Then he got back, back to Florida, and literally, after the hurricane hit, and then he had a stroke and passed. He was 42.
Mhm.
And that was October 5th. My uncle Donnell passed on October 6th. My best friend Bert passed on October 17th, and my dad had passed on October 27th. These are all different years, mind you, but
Mhm.
literally, two two best friends, an uncle and my father, so and then my son was stillborn, and he was January 30th. So I've literally buried a son and a father, and two best friends. um of course, with other loved ones, but that, every passing is different. When, boy, the loss of a child, or the loss of a parent, those passings are like nothing other. So
Right.
and I've walked through that, um, and just it's like, wow, I have four girls, and blessed with four girls, but no boys.
Mhm.
And that was, so, but he's still very much with me, still watching over and assisting me.
Right.
And to think that, as sharing messages, who would have thought, that would, be what I'm called to do. So when I was called out here to Sedona, and I kept hearing to get a camera, and it's like, I'm not a professional photographer. I couldn't begin to tell you, half the things about what the camera is supposed to do, what it can do, or what it ought to do or needs to do. Um, I just take the photos, and I know that there are plenty that, that, has an explanation for what it is, and I'm fine with that. Whether if it's, lens flare or dust or whatnot. I'm colorblind to begin with, so a lot of the stuff that shows up, my colors all run together. When I took the colorblind test, I even failed the example, and the eye doctor said that's the first time that ever happened. But greens and browns and oranges and reds, all that stuff runs together,
Mhm.
for me. So, and everything, depending on the way the light hits it, it appears different for me. And I just, asked, look, if it's out there, please show yourself to me so that I may know that you're attempting to talk to me or communicate with me, or you're at least wanting to get my attention. And when I came out here to Sedona, I wanted to know what my gifts were. I wanted to be able to understand how to use them and recognize them. And, I had read a book that was very, profound for me. It really helped me on such a great level. And, the book was called "You Are Psychic," and it was written by Pete Sanders Jr. And, do I have that book around here? Yeah. This book right here.
You are psychic. Peter Sanders,
Yeah.
Peter A. Sanders Jr.
He was such a huge, help to me. Um, and I didn't even recognize it, but literally, I'd had that book for years. Um, and it read like stereo instructions, because he's an MIT scientist. So, but there were parts that just made sense to me, and other parts was just like, wow, that's over my head. But little did I know that years later I would be, out here in Sedona, and it was, that connection to Pete that would really, really help me to grow. because I'm sitting there when I was called here, and I'm like, so I would love to meet him and get my book autographed. And there was a lady sitting next to me, and she's like, yeah. She said, you want to know Pete? You want to meet Pete? Yeah, I know Pete. I can introduce you to Pete. And she did. I was introduced to him, and he helped me to understand that my intuition was incredibly strong.
Mhm.
And between my intuition um, and just that, it was really, really strong.
Mhm.
And the more that because I was learning to trust it, because
Oh,
literally, me coming out here was all about me trusting, in my gifts. And boy, being able to trust your intuition is one of the strongest ways to go.
right.
Uh,
And it gives you confidence. It starts to give you some confidence in
mhm.
yourself.
So literally everything. I was out here for 3 weeks in November 2011, and I had something happen to me every single day of those 3 weeks that I cannot explain. There were things that were happening to me, and mind you, this was leading up to my spiritual awakening at 38, because I was out here at 37. I'm like, well, if it's gonna go down, you know, that
Bring it.
here it is. And so literally while I was out here, um, I was, experiencing things that I couldn't explain. I was taking photos of things that when I went back to look at it, there were faces, in the clouds or in the rocks, and I had no idea what orbs were. I had absolutely no clue about any of that stuff, the ascendant masters or anything like that. And when I told my mom I was going to come out here and follow through with it, because I needed to know one way or the other, because Archangel Uriel had guided me out here. Um, it was all confirmation for
Oh,
me. To like, where is this place? I don't even know where it's at. And you hear, turn on the TV, and then I go to turn on the TV, and then there's the Ghost Adventures talking about Sedona, Arizona, and Jerome, and it's like, I'll trip out. So that's where it's at. And you type in Sedona, and it feels like home. Like
right.
I've never been there, but I feel like I've been there before. Little did I know. Um, and then of course all the other things that introduced to while being out here, the mediumship, the Akashic records, past life, um, understanding, multi-dimensional, ley lines and all that stuff, ascension, that was all brand new to me.
Mhm.
Just what I had, followed through, young and curious about it, because the love astrology, and I just knew I was a Scorpio. My word, I didn't know there was a rising sign and a moon sign, and there's all these, people. They're multi-layer, they're multi-layers. There are many different layers of a person, and you may know one facet, but then there's so many other facets to them. And then what I come to realize is everybody in your life is it's like a Shakespearean play,
Mhm.
and everybody's there to fulfill their role. And that point, people in your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. Some people show up, and they help bring those lessons and that understanding. I mean, you may or may not still be friends with the people from grade school, or junior high or high school or college. And, and there are these people that come in at those various times, whereas family is always there, and, so where you've got those lessons with family. And then there's people that feel like family, and you may be closer to them than your real family, soul family. And I just realized that, being out here in Sedona is kind of like the starport on, on Tentaway. You get all these different individuals from all over, meeting up here. And, that's just, how I can recognize Sedona. It's a place where, some family shows up. To me, to help you to overcome the blocks, the obstacles, and the challenges that you were not able to overcome in the past life. And there are some people that, they bring, you bring the blessings. Some people that bring you blessings, and other people that, you're just blessed to know them, and other people you blessed that they gone at your life, but but these are, everyone is like a giant spider web of life, and everybody's connected, in one way or another. Someone knows someone else that, and it's all connected, and I'm just literally I'm bearing witness to this right now, because here I am, I attempt to be low key, you know, and it's like, you're not low key anymore. And it's like, are you kidding? And they're like, no, you know, so here I am, taking that leap of faith, and all I can do is lead by example. A lot of it's challenging. I mean, and testing the electronics, the technology. Um, I'm still doing the best I can to adapt to it. Nowhere near perfect. My Facebook page is not. I'm still working on that, the website and everything else, and attempting to figure out how to do it. And there's,
Well,
you know,
you're a shining light for all of us, Derrell. You really are, and also your work, your orb work, your photography. How many pictures do you think of orbs have you taken?
thousands,
Thousands, right?
thousands. I mean, here in Sedona is one thing. I mean, because it's the vortexes and whatnot. So if you go to Bell Rock or Cathedral Rock or Red Rock Crossing or Boynton Canyon or here in the Canyon or
I
West
love
Fork,
the canyon.
you're more likely going to experience something like that because of all the energy up at the Stupa or Thunder Mountain. It is very, very prevalent. The energy is always open and on here. So if you come here, you're more likely going to experience something like that, and especially if you're open to it, or you're with someone who's open to it. But I also experienced that it is very much in my home state of Kentucky. A lot of limestone and water there, and the cave systems. So, I take orb photos at Mammoth Cave. And it's like, and even at Lost River Cave, things showing up. And then, of course, in Mount Shasta, which is also connected on the ley line grid to Sedona, Orlando, Florida, which, it's like a second home to me. Used to live there, and all these various places, wherever I went, it was there, and it's always been there. Even the Buddhist Monastery, which, I was very blessed to be allowed to take photos there. um, and that was my first time ever out of the country, and at a Buddhist monastery, and it felt as natural as breathing to me. And they actually invited me to become a monk there, but I didn't know how to speak Mandarin, so it's like I didn't know how. They just called me they called me the Laughing Buddha, which was funny because to hear that from the monks themselves, that was a huge honor.
Really, truly,
you
truly.
know and they said, if you they extended the offer, if you ever want to come back. The monks literally followed me all the way from on the bus, to like, do you want to change your mind, we would love to have you. So
You
that
know
was
they don't do that every day. I would think that would be a real rarity.
it was a
See 'em
huge honor,
yeah.
because the head monk acknowledged that, I was there with my dear friend Edie, and that, and her family, and that was a huge, blessing in itself. And they said, it's rare. I mean, in fact, I was even allowed to take photos there, and then invited to be there with them. That was incredibly humbling to me, because I've had my fair share of ups and downs. Like I said, I'm not perfect, but those blessed experiences to be able to allow me to share them with others, and some of the orb photos that showed up there was like nothing that I had ever experienced, because literally the monks were chanting. And if you can imagine a room full of monks chanting, and they're hitting the drums, and they're doing all of that, and it's literally, you can feel the energy, and then the power goes out, like boom, the power goes out in the monastery, and the monks are still chanting, they're still doing their thing. And this is during the summer solstice of 2016, and I'm taking the photos, and
Wow.
there's all this orb showing up, and it's like, you know I'm trying to showing them, and as it's being interpreted, you can feel the energy, in that place. So any place, like, the monastery, you can feel the energy. Mount Shasta, you can feel the energy. Sedona, you can feel the energy. So to be able to feel the energy in Bowling Green, well, the limestone and water, I'm like, that makes sense. It's everywhere you are.
Mm-hmm.
So I just allow myself to document things that I was feeling at that time, And my sense of feeling, along with my intuitive feeling, if you will, you feel something and you're like and you take the picture. So there are times when I get the goosebumps or that tingly sensation, and that's how because when you get those
Right.
goosebumps, pay attention to that.
Yeah.
So when you're getting that, and then you're getting like cold chills, or like, hello. So people want to know, how do you know? You can feel the temperature shift, or you get that gut feeling, or you get that tingly sensation on your head or whatnot. And the more you ask, the more it
It'll
gets
feel.
stronger.
Mhm.
And now it's like I've been here since 2011. So I've been asking for quite some time till it came to a point where, like, how many signs, do you need to ask? How many signs does it take for you to get the message? And so for me, it's literally taken thousands, because I've taken thousands of pictures. And look, some of it you could explain it that this is what it is, and fine, that's what it is, in your view. And others, it's just I'll take a picture of a face in the rock because it looks like a face to me in the rock. And if somebody else sees the face, they see the face. Um, take a picture of a cloud and there's a face, face in the cloud. I'm asking for signs and messages because this, show me that if this is what I'm seeing, because I've already been diagnosed manic depressive bipolar, or seeing things and hearing things. And then of course when you have the physical or the evidence, the evidence speaks for itself. I mean, out of thousands of photos, sure, there's plenty that you can say, well, this is this or this is that. I've never seen dust particles with that different, the different color hues. Hell, I'm colorblind. I can tell you anyway whether it's blue or purple, or gold or red. That's what I see. And
Do
I
you
just,
want to try and share some of those? Should we try it, or
yeah,
or
let's try it.
not? What do
Uh,
you think?
We give it a go. Well, if it's meant to be,
Okay.
it'll act right. So,
Okay. If not, we'll just, hey, we'll laugh through it and go on to the next thing, right?
all right. So I'll click
Just
on
let-
this,
Okay.
and
Should
if you,
be share screen. Oh, here we go.
yeah,
That should do it.
okay. All right. So now this is, the Angels, Fairies, and Orbs ET. It's just an album or a compilation of various things that I had taken photos of. Um, Start with this one. This is a photo of a well-known artist here in Sedona, and she was, doing a portrait, and you can see that the energy was literally right on her shoulder, right there, moving through.
I don't see it.
You don't
So,
see it?
mm,
Let's see where we're at here.
oh, wait, here we go. I don't think
Doo-doo-doo-doo.
that's good.
No. Oh, I got to do that.
Yay!
Working
There we
with
go.
working with technology is,
Oh, God.
so, she's, channeling as she's drawing, as she's painting, and you can literally see the orb, moving
Oh,
as,
yeah.
I took the picture, and that, and that's what appeared.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
this is, oh, wow, look at that. This is at
Oh, that's beautiful.
Red Rock Crossing, which is right there by Cathedral Rock, and a dragonfly flew by me, and I was picking up Archangel Michael's energy, and it flew over like I was supposed to take a picture over towards the tree. So I took a picture in the trees, and when I did, that's what I saw, in the camera. Physically, I didn't see anything there, but I took the pictures, and it's like, when it's zoomed in, you can actually see the little figures and whatnot. Um,
They
you know,
look very fairy looking with the
mhm,
purple, the violet fire, and they're like rainbow over it
mhm,
almost, like
you
it's
know,
a little ship or something.
so that was, okay, the elemental realm.
Mhm.
This is that face, the faces that Bell Rock, and I kept
Yeah,
feeling like I was being watched. And I take the picture, and you can see there's a nose and there's a mouth, and over here there's another, there's an eye, a nose, and a mouth.
right.
And it's like, well, no one carved that out, but it's it's there at Bell Rock.
Mhm.
And it's like, okay, so there are faces in Bell Rock. How do you explain that? um, and it's a orb photo. So this is
Oh,
Mount.
that one is like a brilliant. It's like a shower of thousands of orbs.
It's at
Where
Mount
is that,
Shasta.
girl? Mount
Mount.
Shasta?
hmm
Derrell. Sorry.
it's at Sand Flats. That's Bunny Flats, Sand Flats, Panther Meadows, and we were at Sand Flats, and it's a really, it's a big old field, and you could just, and it was pitch black out there. I mean, there's no lights out there. Shasta's it's a mountain, and but you could feel the energy of it,
Mhm.
and it was it was all around. And this was still, this is 2012. I had never really, it was my first time ever at Shasta.
Mhm.
And, that was the first place I experienced a loss of time at, when I had the vision of the cabin, on the mountain. And we found it at Horseshoe Camp. And I was with 7 other people. And, I told him I was going to go get my water bottle, fill up my water bottle and come back. And when I returned back, they were gone. All 7 people were gone. So I was
Oh,
like, where'd everybody go? I did not realize that, David Politis, the missing 411, the point of separation, and it's like the national parks, people go disappearing.
right, exactly.
And I went missing for several hours, and they didn't even realize I was gone, you
Oh,
know. So that was my first experience with loss of time. This was also another one of those beings that appeared at Shasta, and it's like I had no idea what the heck that was. I just took the picture and it was over there, and it appeared along with all the orbs. So it was like I just know that it's people tend to have experiences there,
right.
and and
Wow.
we had an experience, um,
Right.
there, and really couldn't explain. I couldn't explain it. I just know that everything that I was hearing that was being said to me, you're going to be walking back by yourself. No, I'm not. And I ended up walking back by myself. You're going to be alone at night holding the light. And I said, no, I'm not. And my friend's like, look, I got to go back to the other camp to get the water, keep the fire going. So I'm literally in the middle of the woods in Shasta, keeping the fire going. So this is another one
Oh,
of those.
that's so spectacular.
There was no stars out. There was no stars out. Um, it was literally pitch black out there, and so I was just taking the photos because that's just what I was called to do, and this was how it was showing up. So that was
Just wonderful.
those experiences where it starts to come through. And literally, like I said, this is out in the middle of field out at Sand Flats. But it's Shasta, and I'd never been there, and then I had the dream about it, and then I'm invited there like a few days later, like, what are the odds of that?
Mhm.
And then we camped out on the mountain for 12 days straight, and we had experiences like, we just, I can't explain it.
Mount Shasta's like that.
And,
I've been going for 30 years. It's an amazing,
you know
amazing.
and then of course you see like the rainbow lights and stuff there, so it was just
Everyone should go to Mount Shasta, right,
it,
Derrell?
it's an initiation, if you will. If you're called to Mount Shasta like you're called to Sedona, answer the call. Something profoundly is more likely going to happen to you and for you, being there. And I wasn't aware of any of the stuff. I was brand new to all of it, so I didn't know about the Sasquatch connection, the UFO connection, the star beam connection. I didn't know any of that. I was brand new to Shasta, and my work. Um, my experiences now, looking back, because of all the photos, um, I had some things happen, that I couldn't quite explain, and even to this day, it's like, okay, that's uniquely different. And then you look at it, and it's such a pristine and amazing and beautiful place, and I mean, natural water springs and everything coming up. Um, and it changed my life profoundly, just like Sedona. And when you get called to those places, it does something to you.
Yep.
And
Let go.
and it just like, for me, like I said, I was a techie back then. I was all, into my, PlayStation and whatnot, and that was all brand new. So to be out in nature, it was like a total reboot. So you literally, Mount Shasta was just like a whole new experience. And then of course, that more likely lens flare or whatnot. But for me, it was like I couldn't explain that, the rainbow color orb, because it appeared in my back, in the backyard in Sedona, and then it appeared up at Shasta. Um, from the researcher
A
that I,
rainbow orb. Oh my goodness.
which Archangel, Raziel, so the Archangel of past lives and the Akashic records. And,
Wow.
ironically, I ended up, learning the Akashic records. Um, and these are, the same beings, interacting. And this was just me, asking, for those, signs, and it's showing up. Um, the unfamiliar, I'd never seen that before, so I didn't quite know what to make of it. And these were all my own personal experiences. This, the mist, the moon is like I heard.
Or the smoke in that one.
Yeah, I heard come outside, there's something for you. And so, you go outside, one, and it starts to morph, and here's the angel, there's the wings,
God, oh my gosh.
there's her face, so, and there were the orbs, you
Right.
so, and Archangel Haniel, Archangel of the Moon, I didn't know who that was, and then of course I asked to know more about the archangels. Um, and the book fell off the shelf and hit me in the shoulder. And the light shall set you free, and there was information about the archangels, so that
Do you feel like you're an angel, Derrell?
some people may say the yay or nay to that. We're all angels to each other's.
Mhm.
Attempting to be kind to strangers. For you never know when an angel is in the midst.
Mhm.
I just attempt to share, joy and positivity to those that I can. My life has had, plenty of ups and downs in it. But I just, if the photos can uplift and inspire and bring joy to people, like, here was a ship, you know, hanging
Yeah.
out in the background, and it's like,
Oh, goodness.
it's Sedona, so it's not uncommon for things like
Right.
that to show up.
A palm
Um,
tree, maybe.
orbs in flight, in motion. We're literally driving and, roll down the window, stick the camera out and take a picture. And, that's what appears. And like we're being followed by an orb. That's crazy. Um, and it's like, and it looked like a comet,
It's gorgeous,
you
gorgeous.
know, this is up at the airport, up at the Mesa Grill, and went out because the jet had literally landed, went out to take a picture of the jet. And then, what else shows up? All the orbs taking off too. So the plane is landing and the orbs are taking off.
Yeah,
Um, you
that's
know,
interesting.
the, and they do what they do. Um, that's out at the Bell Rock, you know, more.
Have you seen one in third dimension at all?
Um, I want to say in third dimension, let me see here. There's one that I took in my friend's backyard. And it is probably one of the most, I call it the Archangel Michael orb,
Oh,
because it really got my attention. And it was pretty much by itself.
wow.
I want to say that it's down here at the bottom, and it's, literally, it's a little bit of everything, that the light language in the sky or whatnot from ships. Here we go. So
That
that,
just gorgeous.
So here it is, without it being cropped up. And my friend, her backyard, she says she believes there was a portal in her backyard. So I'm like, well, let's check it out. And sure enough, her backyard was super active. And her backyard was very, very active. And you can see this orb, here, that it was massive, and it was just, hanging out. And so when I cropped it, it looked like, oh, don't tell me I went the wrong way. I went the wrong way.
Those that are listening, it's this beautiful purpley blue violet, like pulsating. You can feel a lot of energy in it with a kind of a gold rim around it as well.
And this was in her backyard. And this was literally, and you could see it. So as far as you could see the sacred geometry in it, if you will,
Yes, there
you know,
is. There really
uh,
is.
but so that showed me that there was, these, I wanted to be able to understand them more. So, some of the books that I was introduced to, one of the books that really helped me was Ascension Through Orbs, by Diane Cooper. And a lot of people that had taken the pictures and sent them in, for a book. And what I realized was a lot of the same beings that were appearing in their photos were appearing in mine too, so, and she, for her, she had channeled it or whatnot. This book right here, um, it helped me a great deal because, I'm not the first one that's experienced, something like this.
There a
And there,
history of it, Derrell, like forever kind of thing, or know
uh,
much history of it briefly?
orbs, they're beings of conscious energy. Um, and they, loved ones that have crossed over can appear as
Oh,
orbs. Appears orbs. Elementals can appear as orbs. Sasquatch can appear as orbs. Star beings can appear as orbs. They all interact and work together. At least from my understanding, from my own personal experiences, a lot of these beings, because they all tend to show up together. Like this one, there was like some type of elemental along with the orbs there,
neat.
showing up. So it's, um, they communicate, and they're all beings of light, so it's like we're beings of light, we're made up of stars,
Right.
we're physical, but my word, the same thing is going on. And why are we shocked and surprised that our ancestors, they had the same connection? My word, you look at all the architecture and all the experiences of the ancient civilizations, and dad burn well that they were not doing that by themselves.
Right.
They had help, with that. And then even with, the our ancestors, the shamans and whatnot, they commune with the spirit world, that are able, to bring healing and insight and understanding. They, those that were selected to do that and called to do that. Oh, here's one where, it's like, the different imagery,
Right.
of what they're doing. Um, like I'd never really seen anything like that
Yeah,
before.
it's amazing.
I didn't know orbs could do that, so,
Well, our
I didn't know that they get,
our ancestors had that
the,
relationship with nature, and they were out with this sort of thing. We're just starting to get that back again. We've lost that connection, and this
yeah,
orb.
because yeah, as those that had that connection, it was almost like they, others came in and wanted to wipe it out. You can't talk about this, you can't share this, you can't learn about this or teach this. And so a lot of that information has been covered up or lost or not, and not disclosed. Um, but for those who are curious, or had a near-death experience and they want to know why are they seeing things and hearing things now that they were not doing before the near-death experience, they would like a little explanation of that. And, I was no different because I didn't really understand a lot of this stuff.
Mhm.
And a lot of that I was showing, my goodness, people out here in Sedona are, oh, that's an orb. What's an orb?
Right,
you
right.
know, um,
And you find
so literally,
so that others can find their peace with it, right? You take the
yeah,
fear out of it,
and
take that out of it.
mhm, and this is at that monastery, and this is the altar that people would come and leave stuff on, and literally you could just see that all the energy that was around it. And then of course here the on behind this door the monks are chanting, but literally you can see that
Thousands
a
of,
lot of energy,
yes.
and it's and this is while the monks are doing that, and these little stools right here, everybody would have to bow and kneel, and so it's forever etched in my mind, bicep pie, which is bow 3 times. My knees were swollen like grapefruits, but they allowed me to take part in all of that. And then this photo,
Oh my God. If you could
that's
see this,
literally
like drenched, there's like not an inch between an orb. It's just raining orbs of
the
light.
the power went out, and the monks kept chanting. And so literally that was like, wow, you hear this loud boom, the power goes off. The monks are still doing their thing. They're still beating the drums. And I took the photo,
That one is
and that,
spectacular. Absolutely extraordinary, Derrell. It really
you
is.
know, so, so these were, and here is the room where the monks were at. But this was literally you could feel the energy
Yeah. You
from
can feel it
there.
from the
And
photo. You can feel it from the photo. You really can.
and it was literally everyone was having taking breaks and whatnot, but the monks kept doing their thing, and then of course this is where the ancestors, this is on the
Oh,
inside, and this is where they hold all the sacred ceremonies for ancestors, and they allowed me to participate, so I was offering blessings up for all my friends, family, and loved ones, that I knew and had yet to meet. Little did I know, but it was such a profound experience. So even on the inside where the monks were at, this energy was very present. um and that was just that was incredibly healing for me to
nice. It's
experience that.
beautiful, really
um
beautiful.
uh, and this is in my friend's backyard in Miami, Jack and Donna Katzowitz, and they have a peace pole back there, and there was literally an orb hanging out, right above their peace pole,
And
and
it
they're
looks like something in it.
mhm,
That one.
and it was such an incredible healing experience for me, because after my father passed, they
Mhm.
invited me down, and really helped me to heal, because that was I didn't really know what else or how to address or deal with that at that time frame. And while I was also down there, this showed up,
That is incredible.
and I
What
had
is that, Terrell?
no idea. I was out there with Donna, and we were at the botanical gardens, and I felt this, to take a picture over there.
That
So
is just brilliant. I mean,
yeah,
it's unearthly for sure, and very sacred geometry as
yeah.
well, you know.
I'd never seen anything like it. So
Oh,
it's,
I haven't either. That is incredible.
you
That's
know,
like a headdress for an Egyptian, you see almost.
mhm.
It's really interesting. Wow.
The orbs inside, this literally, this is, my buddy Riley, he's since passed, but you could see that there was an orb right beside
Right
him.
next to him. Yeah.
And then there's a really big one right above him.
Oh,
So animals and children, orbs show up very naturally around them.
oh,
So a lot of people they want to be able to see them. If you take a picture of your animal, or your child, and more likely something will show itself around them, watching over them.
well, thank
And
you. Thank you so much. We only have like a couple minutes left
yeah,
now of the show. And oh, but that one is spectacular. The green with the pink. What the heck is that?
so this was, the whenever this shows up, and this showed up in a very, in a couple of different ways. I call it all the archangels because it's got like all the colors of the rainbow.
Wow.
But whenever it shows up to me, that's when I usually know, that something pretty profound is going to happen. It doesn't show up all the time, and
Mhm.
um, well, hell, it could be lens flare. I don't know, but I just never seen anything,
It
uh,
is amazing, just
you know,
amazing.
to look like that. And so it's, the various things,
Oh, that is just spectacular.
you know,
Gorgeous, just gorgeous.
and this showed up when, the
That's one of my favorite colors. Wow.
so the light beams, the orbs, they
Right.
just
All of
show
that.
up. How this
Cool.
picture right here, I was asking for a sign from my grandmother who had passed,
Oh,
and she had passed on July 5th of 2014. And July 5th is my friend Edie's birthday, and so loved ones tend to pass on your friends or loved ones' birthdays. But on July 11th at my sister's house, I was asking for a sign. Granny, if you're still with us, please show us a sign. And my nephews were right behind me when I took the camera, and when it flashed, they saw it. They said they actually saw it
that's a sweet one.
materialize.
Wow.
And this was,
Thank you. Thanks, Derrell. Thank you.
you
Give
know,
1 minute. So, well, everyone can see Derrell's work on Facebook, Derrell Stokes. Private message him, share your photos with him.
yeah,
Lots of stories to come. He's just getting started. He's going to be on the scene for a while. I think we're not going to let him go anywhere. Thank you for coming on the show today, Derrell. I really, really,
it's
it was
been an honor.
really,
Uh,
truly, truly an honor. And we will, the Cosmic Oracle show will be closed, yes, closed next week for Christmas. We won't be here, and we won't be here for New Year's. We'll be off for 2 weeks vacation, and then we'll be back on, I think it's January 8th for the first time in the new year with Michael Lee Hill. And I know, Derrell, you know Michael. So,
yep.
all right, goodbye, everybody. Love you. See you in the next year. Have the best happy holidays. Thank you.
Happy
Bye,
2020.
everybody. And